heck is up, Goth Gamer Nation? Hello. I don't know if you're interested, but I just wanted to make some kind of music-related content, even though my last attempts were frequently demonetized and infrequently watched. But instead of trying to stick to some kind of rigorous schedule, you know, where I find new things and then I'm kind of obligated to put them in some kind of chronological order or some shit, I thought I'd just chill TF out. You just talk about some things I've been listening to. You know, it could be from an album, an EP, a soundtrack, but I'm gonna probably boil it down to one track from that, because that's probably an easier gateway to check something out if you're interested, you know. Instead of asking you to consume 40 or so minutes of something. So I'll somewhat go in order of when I started taking note of things, which was nearing the end of 2019. I was just like, you know, if I'm listening to something a lot, I'll take note of it, and then when I have 10, I'll make a video of it. So I got like two and a half of these already in the bag, but I'll just go down the line here, and it's very casual. Okay, who knows where it could go? But based on my history with casual encounters, it's probably gonna be me pulling over to the side of the road to sob uncontrollably. First up is a track from
Identified Patient
called The Drip, a Dutch, I believe, minimal industrial project. I could fill this list with everything they put out and everything their label PINKMAN puts out. I keep finding myself returning to that label and
Identified Patient,
especially when I'm writing, because they have a sleazier, sexier club vibe that appeals to me, even though I'd never in my life actually go to the kind of venue that my mind conjures when I listen to it. And I appreciate any use of whip-cracking sounds in industrial. Very underutilized instrument if you ask me. I guess this spot could have been literally anything they've put out, but this track in particular has been in the mix as of late. See, already new format, and I'm already poking holes in it, but this is how it's gotta be. Consider this an alpha build. Number 2, BIOMASS by BOTANIST. BOTANIST is a project that has gone to some really beautiful places in the last couple years. I think this guy gets better and better, and the inception of a hammered dulcimer-led black metal band themed around reverence for nature and scientific plant names has never been so realized. This whole album sounds like some kind of religious mass or I get. The frequent clean vocals and more uplifting tone a lot of the tracks take feel very spiritual. The hammered dulcimer has this way of, like on a dime, changing the tone of something. I'll be thinking about how bright and cheerful it sounds, even with a blast beat behind it, and then in an instant it becomes kind of desperate and menacing. And I like when you get to feel that. I think that's why I like BIOMASS so much in particular. It's just immediate urgency and tension, and then it breaks like a cloud barrier momentarily for these very church hymn vocals. Also at the 3-minute mark, there's a thing that happens in black metal a lot that I'm just a sucker for, and that's like a gratuitous, slowly rising scream. I like that. It feels like there's just so much pent-up energy that even though you're out of lyrics, you just gotta get something out. Number 3 is Edward's Theme by Rick Schaefer from the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines soundtrack. Late last year, I'm assuming in anticipation of the game's sequel, there was a remastered version of the soundtrack of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines released, which sounds fantastic. It's an album I listen to very frequently and immediately pre-ordered because I like the soundtrack so much I wanted some tangible proof of that. Look how dang pretty she is though. Come on. Can I get a... yeah? Anyway, I picked Edward's Theme because it's a really great somber trip-hop track that is, and I might be mistaken here, but I don't think it actually appeared in the game at launch. It's a track that is named after the murderer in the haunted hotel, and in the unofficial patch, it plays during that quest, but I don't think it does otherwise, but again, I could be misremembering this. What I do know for certain is that Beckett is a werewolf. And don't even try to tell me this motherfucker who turns into a wolf is a gangrel. This is the hill I've chosen to die on, and I'm fine with that. Number 4 is the title track off of Sea of Worry. It's very good. I have listened to this track so many goddamn times since it dropped. I don't think Dan Barrett can put out something that isn't endlessly re-listenable. While I maintain that Have a Nice Life is still a project that is hard to classify or shove into a genre, there is a particular brash goth surfer vibe to this very bitter political song that I am here for. There is a clearer post-punk sound, but it's still such a particular brand that I don't feel right lumping it into other post-punk bands. To be expected, the content of this track is very bleak, but that bass line is so fun. I don't know, it's a strong performance vocally and just a memorable song, and in general a great album. I love that going into new material there is always something that will catch me off guard a bit. There are things that I feel comforted by, little quirks in production, like oh good, that's here, but there will always be a substantial amount of new things that make me say, oh, I didn't know I wanted this. So I love this one, so much so that it led to like the 3rd time I unsubscribed from the needle drop.
Watch me. Watch me. Watch me.
Good. I don't know why I'm reading the numbers. I'm probably going to put text up that says it, but Chat Pile is an American noise rock band. And Dallas Beltway was the first track I heard from them. And I got about a third of the way into it before I paused and said, I need to own this. Where do I get this? The whole album, called appropriately Remove Your Skin Please, is one of the most sloppy, dark, and menacing rock albums I've ever heard. And Dallas Beltway is just the peak of this vibe. It's like everything about it feels off-kilter and like it's drunkenly swaying. The vocals, obviously, especially, are like someone genuinely just spilling their guts to an unwilling party, grabbing you by the collar, forcing you to become a participant in something that I want no part of, rambling a story that quickly becomes a violent and unsettling confession, peppering in all the familiar quirks of a belligerent drunk, like breaks to say shit like, okay, listen to me, okay, and repeating certain phrases with increasing aggression. It's a dirty and sad album that frequently deals with extreme self-loathing and violence against children in this over-the-top way. I'm not sure if it should be funny or legitimately alarming, but either way, I'm grinning like a psycho through the whole thing. I'm a relatively new fan of the Icelandic anti-capitalist BDSM industrial or whatever they're going for now group Hatari. I didn't follow their whole Eurovision contest shenanigans, so I've had to play catch up in that regard. But I came in right about at the release of their first full-length album, which I think is a lot of fun and is charming. I feel like in a way I should be bothered by them taking a genre that is important to me and popifying it, I guess, but like, it's just too much fun to be snobby about. Like, every one of the tracks on this could be a single, catchy and well-produced. I like the mix of barked, almost militaristic vocals with softer, clean vocals. I'm gonna butcher this, but Klámstrákur was probably my favorite off this album, and I'm not entirely sure why. It's like the horniest track on it. It translates to Filthy Boy, and the music video is one of them doing an impressive job pole dancing. But it just stuck with me the most, and there was like a good month where I needed to hear it at least once a day. It made me realize I don't often hear the Icelandic language, but it's really pretty sometimes and terrifying other times. You know, like when it's being shouted at you in a threatening manner, I feel like I should be following some kind of orders or doing somebody's bit. Oh, now I get why it's my favorite. Not My God is a sort of industrial supergroup of sorts, a collaboration between Tim Skold of Skold and Nero Bellum of Cyclone 9. I mean, there was already crossover there before, but the vibe seems to be much different for this project. And is sure much more interesting than that fucking Disneyland Must Burn song they did last year. What a just inert criticism. If it even was that, or if it was just edginess for edginess sake. I don't know. Either way, boy, I wish I had this album when I was 12. Lots of Marilyn Manson-esque, angsty, blasphemous lyrics. Frequent use of agritech production choices, but the album never really reaches that BPM. It's much more slow and creepy, and I'm way into it. I mean, it's kind of a cheat because it's made with pieces that are hard-coded in me. You play something that sounds like this and the goth sleeper cell in me wakes up and starts fucking moving. Oh, yeah, that ain't my God, Mom. I don't want to go to church today. Clan of XYMOX is a long-running Dutch darkwave band, still fucking going strong, 40 years into the game. Ronnie Moorings is pushing 60 and sounds the goddamn same. You compare this track from this year to one from 1983, and it's like they haven't missed a beat. They've just crystallized and continuously perfected this sound. Still infectiously catchy and gets me doing that gloomy, I kind of want to dance, but I don't know how, so I'm just gonna kind of sway and move my shoulders lackadaisically sort of dance. And this is very entry-level goth. Like I'd play it in the car if someone else was there and not feel self-conscious about it.
If you lick the bag.
This track comes from the Viagra Boys EP Common Sense from this year, and I look forward to all the output of this band. They continuously put out fun noise rock, post-punk, call it what you want, music, taking gravely serious subject matter and injecting a silly, absurd energy to it, exemplified by this absurd boardroom meeting video they made to advertise this album with a single about the depressing depravity of hard drug addiction. I mean, the rest of the EP is great, and it's more low-key though. I was between this one and the title track, which is a strong performance and had intense lyrics as well, but Lick the Bag is too striking. It's like some kind of fucked up, trippy R-Crumb drawing come to life.
MEDICO PESTE
is a Polish black metal band, or self-described schizophrenic black metal band. Apparently their last output was in 2012, and I had not heard of them until I was drawn in by two things. One, the fact that they were signed to Season of Mist, which is home to many great metal bands, and secondly, the striking cover art, which the enjoyable music video for God Knows Why sort of illustrates the genesis of. It's a really unconventional sound, and I think for the most part lives up to their wacky genre title. NUMINOUS Catastrophe shows off the panicked, unpredictable nature of the album. It'll get in these hypnotic, trance-like grooves and then can suddenly erupt into intense metal outbursts. It's really great. I love boundary-pushing creative metal. I can see why they were signed. Also, if you're a fan of Fog, this has members from that project. If you're into Shining or fellow Polish band Blaze of Perdition, you'd probably like this. Oh, they had an album this year as well, The Harrowing of Hearts. It was pretty good. Probably wouldn't care to include it here, but I will absolutely shoehorn in a half-assed recommendation there. Well, that's all for today. I'm playing it real fast and loose with the format here, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was informative. Hopefully you got some things you might want to check out. I'll try to do this regularly, and I'll also try to continue to see value in it, because I do enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking about music, and I enjoy getting the word out on some interesting stuff out there. Hope you have a good day. There's video game content coming soon. Bye!